So I'm bloating again. I'm having digestive issues again. And I'm still incredibly chronically fatigued. My brain capacity is really rapidly declining. I have really bad brain fog when I'm kind of thinking I'm really struggling to work. I'm struggling to write, I'm struggling to read, I'm struggling to research, I'm struggling to stay focused for more than maybe 2 or 3 hours. This is really unlike me. Usually I can get a good 5 to 6 hours in a day of high focus. And this is strange. So I keep testing things and I'm thinking maybe it's even the astrological weather. I'm kind of messaging my astrologer and asking her about transits. I'm like waiting for certain transits to pass, thinking maybe it's just the weather, And once everything passes and I still have all of my symptoms and all of my feelings, I'm like, okay, I really don't know what this is. Now, I go away for the weekend and when I come back, my housemate says, I've gotten the place tested for mold. And the report came back positive 50 times the normal toxicity levels. We have 8 areas in the house with a high density of toxic mold. All of a sudden, it makes sense. Now, I didn't know much about mold at this point, but I'm like, I know enough to know that's definitely causing these issues, right? Like, that's got to be it. This is great. Finally, we have an answer. We understand what's really going on. So then I start to do all of my research into mold and I start looking into how serious is this? What does this mean? How do we get rid of it? What do we do? How do we detox it? And I didn't personally know many people in my life that had mold or recovered from it. I always glossed over it as something that was maybe exaggerated a little bit. And I think until you go through it, you don't realize how drastic it can be and how much it can rob you of your life. So I'm like, okay, well, what do we do now? And the first thing that we did was after we got the test results, we needed to contact a remediation company. So the first thing you want to do is get your house tested for mold. If you have these symptoms, get your house tested. And you want to just do a little Google mold testing in my area. Obviously, you can get a few different companies in. Remediation is the process of getting a quote for how much it would cost to remove the mold from the house. So depending on where it is, for us, it was underneath floorboards. It was underneath our basins in our bathrooms. It was very hidden. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't on the walls. But essentially you have a kind of exterminator sort of company process where they come in, they barricade the house, they gas it with these chemicals that get rid of the mold. And during that process, you can't be in the house, right? It's highly toxic chemicals. So you need to leave the premises for several days or a week, and you need to find somewhere else to live, which depending on where you are in the world, that might be difficult. And depending on the laws in your state, country, this may or may not be covered by your rental clause or by the government or by your homeowner insurance. So this can be an expensive process. It can add up, which is really unfortunate. So hopefully it is covered for you wherever you are. And if you're in the state of California, technically the landlord should be paying for all of this. So there's a little helpful tip for you. But Google the laws, make sure that you research all of this yourself and try and hopefully not get too much of this out of pocket for you. It took us about a month to get someone in because a lot of these remediation companies were booked out, and then to also find alternative accommodation for us to live in. So once we found out, for an extra month, we were just waiting, which was very uncomfortable because you know what's going on and you just continue declining.